What's up, Eric? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for coming over to me at the game. You came over to talk to me. Really appreciated. How's the road trip been so
Absolutely.
far?
It's been good. We just capped off a good series in Cincinnati. Took two or three there, which is good. And then enjoying an off day in Baltimore and getting ready to get back to work tomorrow. So
Yeah, I was talking to my dad earlier, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to a hard series in Baltimore." I'm like, "Yeah, league leader, division leaders." Like, that doesn't sound right. Baltimore division leader. What the heck is going on right now, Eric?
yeah, a little bit different this year. I mean, you saw it last year. I wasn't in this division last year, but seeing it on the other end, going into a wild card race, you knew they were going to be good, and then rolling over to this year, they're kind of doing what everybody thought they were going to do, which is a little bit different than years past.
Did you see Gunnar Henderson like last night? He had the cycle. Did you see what happened? He had the cycle, he hit it down the line. All he needed was a single, and then he took the double. What do you think about that play? I think it's pretty respectful, just playing the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Yeah, I respect it. I definitely do. I think I'm not going to say most guys, but I think there are some guys that would have stopped at first there. Obviously, that's an easy double right there, stand up double. So yeah, I respect him for going two there.
I actually thought Bichette had a chance at the cycle yesterday when he had the triple and homer. I was excited. I'm like, oh, we just need a double, and then I'm feeling a little secured. But sadly, that didn't happen. But it would have been sick for the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were talking about it down in the bullpen. We were keeping an eye out for it too.
By the way, the Orioles actually have an amazing closer in Felix Batista. Aside from Romano, do you think he's the best closer in the game?
Um, that's tough, man. I mean, obviously, yeah, he's really good. He is. I think right now what he's doing this season, I think he's been the best closer this year for sure. Um, Outside of closing games, I think you just look at his numbers as well. I don't know what his K per nine is, but I want to say it's somewhere like 18, 19. He's got 100 punch outs already, which is really hard to do as a reliever. And he's done it before we've even got to September. Um, he's good. He's really good. But man, there's a lot of really good back end guys in this game right now. And he's up at the top.
100%. Anyway, you guys are right now in the middle of a really close wild card race. Your former team, Seattle, they've been red hot lately. Made things real interesting. You guys already like looking at the scoreboards already, seeing what other teams are up to?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you get to this point of the year, everybody knows what's going on. You know what teams are making a run at it. You know who's close to who. For sure, I think everybody is kind of paying attention to it. But I think at the end of the day, what we got to focus on is going out every day and winning games. And at the end of the day, then it won't matter looking up at the scoreboard and seeing what other teams are doing. But I do think it's going to be a fun last 5 weeks of the season or so for sure.
Did you think Seattle had this in them?
Yeah, I mean, I was there for 4 years. I got to be a part of that team last year that broke the drought there. Um, I mean, you knew that they had it. We did it last year. I think the biggest thing for them was what they added this offseason. Um, that was going to be their big deciding factor on if they were going to do it again. And obviously, they scuffled there for a little bit, and I don't know what they've been doing lately, but I know they're winning a lot of ball games. But you look at that main group of guys, and they have a recipe to be in the postseason for sure.
They just had a series sweep over the Astros, and everyone's saying, "Oh, it's terrible for the Jays because now obviously Seattle's like a half a game ahead of us and everything." But it's not that bad because the Astros were 3 games ahead of us. Now they're only 1 game ahead of us. We're going places. We're gonna hit that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I was saying it's going to be a fun last 5 weeks because you got three teams that are competing for two wild card spots, and we're all within a game of each other. So it's going to be a fun little stretch.
100%. Anyway, so tell me how the transition going to the Jays has been so far. You were on a West Coast team in Seattle, and then now you came to Toronto. How do you like Toronto so far?
I love it. I think my wife will tell you the same thing as well. Toronto, the city itself is great. We're really enjoying being there. The fans are great. And then on the baseball side of things, I mean, I knew probably a weekend of spring training that it was going to be a really good fit for me. Just getting close with some of the guys. I think some of the older guys on this team kind of pushed it above and beyond to get everybody, um, comfortable with one another and wanted everybody to get to know each other. And then just going into this season as a tight knit group, and that's exactly what we did. So the first couple of weeks in spring training, I really knew that this is a special place. We got a special group of guys on this team. We got a great coaching staff. It's been fun this year for sure. And then obviously the fans, man. I mean, you see it. It's one of the most it's one of the most special places that I think I've ever played. Especially when you go places in the states, northern states, and then you have, I don't know, 5 to 10,000 Blue Jays fans that seem like they just follow you around everywhere you go. It's pretty cool stuff.
I was actually just about to ask you about that, about how awesome the fan support is, because you probably know for sure because of last year you were in Seattle, and feels like every time the Jays play in Seattle, feels like a home game. You guys got like a whole squad coming out there, bunch of Jays fans. What's that like? What's the fan support like? Does that give you like a boost in your confidence?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's nothing like it, man. I mean, when you're getting, like I said, when you go on the road and you're getting your fans on the road that are kind of drowning out the home fans, it's you don't get that. You don't get that anywhere else other than Toronto, in my opinion. I mean, as far as teams that the rest of the teams, all 29 of their teams, you might be at a restaurant one night and you see a Yankees hat or you see, a Boston hat or whatever it may be. Um, you go anywhere in Canada and all you see is Toronto stuff. And it seems like the fans are genuinely interested in how the Blue Jays are doing, which is very cool. Um, they're passionate fans and you see it. You see it every single game in Toronto. It doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday night game or if it's a Saturday night game. We always have great fans and great crowds. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things in baseball that can give a player confidence. But one of the other things I can get that can give a player confidence, in my opinion, especially a reliever, is manager Schneider. You could see, I'll give you an example. The other day, Friday, I think it was, they put Jordan Hicks in the game, right? And he got walked off. And then the very next day, they brought him in a high leverage situation. I think it was up by one or something, and they let him pitch a full inning. How good does that make you feel knowing that your manager has so much trust in you guys?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. We talk with them about it probably every day. We're having conversations with pitching coach, with manager. We know how good our bullpen is. We know how good our staff is. We know how good our lineup is. And I think having that confidence as players is one thing, but also having management and coaches who have that same confidence in you takes it to the next level for sure. But yeah, I mean, when you get in a situation and you scuffle a little bit, it's nice to turn around and see that somebody's still patting you on the back and somebody still trusts you. I went through similar situations earlier in the year where you put together a couple rough ones, which they're going to happen every year. Nobody's gonna pitch a perfect season. That's just not how this game works. Um, so to see that you have that confidence still in you from your coaches to go back out and do it again the very next day, it's awesome. And obviously, Hicks is a heck of a pitcher, heck of a high leverage pitcher. So when you scuffle a little bit and you get that opportunity the next night, you go take the most of it, and that's exactly what he did.
Are you close with Jordan? And if not, who are you close with on the Jays?
Jordan Hicks or Romano?
Hicks, Hicks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're a pretty tight knit group down in the bullpen. You spend as much time as we do every day down there. You get to know each other pretty well. But yeah, he's since he's come over, he's been great. We all get along very well. Um, Before that, I would say pretty much everybody is pretty close with one another. Me, Romy, and Mesa, we hang out quite a bit on the field. I get breakfast with Tim. Um, at the hotel, whatnot. We're a tight knit group, so everybody kind of gets along with each other, which is good.
Yeah, what's it called? Do you see Hicks throw the hardest pitch in Jays franchise history? That was the craziest thing. I was for the past couple years, the Jays we haven't had that type of guy, a hard throwing player. Obviously, we've had Nate Pearson, but he's been injured a lot. I think Hicks brings a lot to the table.
Yeah, when you had a guy that's going out there and he's throwing 103 for 3 consecutive pitches, it's something special. It's definitely fun to watch, and I've watched him from afar my entire career. I've never played with him. This is the first time I've ever had the opportunity, but um, he turns heads for sure, and he's fun to watch.
Were you always a reliever? Like growing up, were you a starter or were you just like born into the reliever role?
So I've always been a starter up until my rookie year. I debuted as a starter. I made, I think, 5 or 6 starts with Seattle my rookie year back in 19, and scuffled a little bit. I had some rough ones back to back, and then ended up getting optioned down to the minor leagues a couple months into the season, and then came back up a little bit later as a reliever, and I've been a reliever ever since.
Doing quite a job at it. Anyway, Eric, let's be real for a second. Obviously, the Jays well over 500 this year, having a great year, but I feel like it's been a little strange because the expectations were so high and everything. Like, do you feel like this year has been like a down year, a good year, or just what you expected?
um, I think it's kind of a tough question to answer because it's been such a weird year all throughout baseball if you look at it. I think this new schedule has a little bit to do with it. You're playing 2 less series against each divisional opponent now every year. So instead of playing New York 6 times, we play them 4 times now. Instead of playing Boston 6, we play them 4. So I think teams um, are able to play some other divisional opponents, and I think that's going to be a good thing. I think you're going to get some of these better teams that are playing each other more often, which I like. Uh, but I think you get a little bit of the other side of it as well. I mean, what do we have? Everybody in the East right now that's over 500, which has never happened
Crazy.
in the history of the game, at least as far as I'm concerned. It's just a little bit different. I mean, we're playing good baseball. There's times where we're not clicking on all cylinders, which is exactly how a season's going to go when you have 162 games. If the lineup scuffles, sometimes the pitching staff picks them up, and then there's been times where the pitching staff has scuffled and the lineup has picked us up. Um, it's been a little, I guess, streaky would be the right term for it, maybe. But I feel like we're kind of any moment away from going on a big streak, which hasn't really happened yet this year, but it's gonna happen at some point.
100%. And you know how crazy it is that there's 5 teams in a division that have over five, like are over 500. It doesn't make sense. I talked to a few guys and I told them how I think that we should maybe like take out Tampa Bay or Baltimore and put in like Kansas City, even it out just a little bit more for this AL East.
Yeah, it's the East is good right now, man. They're really good. And the East has always been good. You look at the AL East, and it's always kind of been the powerhouse throughout the league, right? It's always all eyes on the AL East. It's all eyes on New York and Boston, right? And then now you got Baltimore that's in the mix. You got Toronto that's there. Toronto's always been there, but and then you got Tampa. It's like over the last 5, 6 years, it's just been a little bit different. Um, and then I think a little bit to do with this new schedule, like I said, I think it's just kind of given those powerhouse teams a few more opportunities to win some games, which is why I think every team in this division right now is over 500.
For sure. Anyway, I want to ask you about the Rogers Center, like the renovations and everything. How do you like the new bullpens? Because when I was at the game, I went up to check it out, and it's really cool to see the fans like really involved. They're right there in all the action.
Yeah, it's great. I played there on the road a couple times, so I know what the old ones were like as well. They're kind of down below. You get those high up seats where you have fans kind of right above you that are yelling down at you. The new bullpens are sweet. You have the mounds that are up top, and then underneath we have a little room. We got our drinks and snacks and coffee, stuff like that. We have a couple different areas that we can do like some prep work on, and a couple TVs down there that we can watch the delayed version of the game on. It's nice. So if you want to kind of interact with the fans and feel the atmosphere, you go up top, and then if you want to just kind of chill out for a little bit and just focus on the game and kind of get yourself ready, then you can go down below.
Last question, Eric. So Alec Manoah is having a really tough year, obviously. It's really not something people were expecting. He had an amazing year last year, Cy Young candidate. And then like it's just been a battle this year. Have you gotten to know him? Like, what does he need to do to get back to his old dominant self?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously everybody knows what he did last year. He had a great year last year, and me watching from afar, it's fun when guys have those type of years, whether they're on your team or they're not on your team. You always respect the type of seasons that you have, and you don't just have a fluke season like that. That's not how that works. You don't pitch 32 starts and have a Cy Young season. Um, I think there's just a couple things that as far as him, there's a couple things that haven't really gone his way this year, which is unfortunate. And sometimes that's how the game goes. But I think for him, it's just kind of getting his feet back under him and really kind of getting back to that 2022 Manoa that we saw. And I think he will get to that point. Um, it's just a matter of getting there, and then when he does, he's going to take off, and I think you're going to see him return right back to the same form he was last year.
Eric, thank you so much for taking your time to join me today on Jake's Take. Did you enjoy?
I did for sure, man. Thank you for having me. This was great.
Bro, thank you.